Give me 1 second. There we are. All right, welcome everybody to week 3. We have some really special guest stars this week that are going to fill your heads with all this amazing knowledge, and you're going to leave feeling very prepared for kind of starting at SCAD. If this is your first week with us, have no fear. All the recordings from week 1 and week 2 are on the YouTube channel, and in a moment I'll show you those QR codes again in case you missed them. They're also on the syllabus that we sent out to everybody who's registered. So just some housekeeping things. If you can stay muted throughout the duration of the session unless asked by one of our presenters, that would be great. Please, we encourage you. You all have been so great in previous weeks with engaging in the chat. So we recommend you engage in the chat and ask questions, share information there. We will have some time for Q&A after each presenter is done. And so you can hold some questions for there or throw them in the chat and we'll try to answer them as we can. And just a reminder, if you have to step out for any reason today or like, wow, this is such amazing information, I want to hear that again, you can go to our YouTube channel where it will have the recording here. And usually the recording is uploaded within a few hours of us ending the session. So cool. I'll have you go on to the next slide. All right, so it's kind of some goals in our agenda today. We're going to start. I'm going to hand it off to Tabitha, and then Tabitha is going to talk to us about student success and advising, do some navigation of my SCAD so you all can get comfortable with that. And then I'm going to hand it off to Jen from the Office of Neurodiversity Services, who is going to speak to us about how to be a professional student and developing your own brand at SCAD. All right, we did have an assignment today to wear your SCAD swag. And so if you wore your SCAD swag, you can turn your video off, show each other, kind of whatever, send photos in the chat. But we hope you wore some version of SCAD wear today to show some school spirit there, because we are so excited for you all to get started. Awesome. And then finally, there we are. Just a reminder of the QR codes. We have our YouTube channel here where all the recordings are stored, and there's a wonderful recording of Freya reviewing the syllabus with us if you had some questions about our Be Ready to Buzz syllabus. And then, of course, our Office of Disability Resources Instagram that we share information on regularly, and we recommend that you follow us there as well. So I believe that wraps up my portion. I'm going to hand this off to Tabitha Reeves, who is an Assistant Director of Student Success and Advising.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am so excited to join you guys, and I can't wait to meet all of you soon. I'm just going to start off and tell you a little bit about Student Success and Advising so you kind of know what to expect. So you will be joining a first-year experience class, your very first quarter here, and part of what we talk about is your SCAD circle. So you have so many resources here, people, and different actual physical resources to help you be successful. And you have a variety of advisors that are part of that SCAD circle. So you have already been introduced to your accommodations advisors. And today, like I said, we're going to highlight your student success advisor, and I am one of those. And you also have a career and alumni success advisor. You will learn more about them in the coming weeks. And you have a faculty advisor. So you have a lot of people in your corner here at SCAD. Lots of people helped you get here, and you have even more people here to help you once you arrive. So we're going to go on and talk about student success. So here we go. I am Tabitha Reeves. I'm an Assistant Director of Student Success and Advising. I work specifically with the first-year team, so first-year students, that's what I specialize in, and also students with accommodations. So myself and my colleague Stephanie, we will be working with all students that have accommodations. So we are ready for you, and We'll be able to help you navigate as you come into SCAD. You're working with your accommodations advisor, but we'll be able to help you along the way as well. I did put my calendar link up here as you transition away from your admissions advisor into student success. This is a way that you can schedule an appointment with me. You will either be assigned to myself or to Stephanie. One of us will be your advisor during your time here at SCAD. And we will also be your first year experience teacher, and I'll explain that in just a second, but wanted you to have some faces to put with our names so you were familiar with us. So a little bit about student success. We do all kinds of things for you here at SCAD, and if you aren't sure who to go to, we're your person. So academic advising, any types of questions you have about your classes or your major, or how you register for something, how you drop a class or add a class. Those are the types of questions that we're going to answer for you. So anything to do with academics, we're going to be able to help you with that. Financial advising, if you have any questions related to your loans or the FAFSA or paying your bill, those types of things, your scholarships, we're going to be able to help you with that as well. So you don't have to go to a separate person. We're going to be your financial advisor. The other cool thing is we're going to be your first year experience teacher. So first year experience is a class that you're going to take during your first quarter. We're going to meet 1 hour a week for those first 10 weeks. So we're really going to be able to get to know you. We're going to hang out. We're going to learn about how to do SCAD. Lots of different activities during that time, but really you'll be able to ask us any questions. We'll learn how to declare your major, which I think is one of the really exciting parts of first year experience. We'll have some fun, do some activities, but it's really going to help you get yourself acclimated to SCAD. So either Stephanie or I will be your first year experience instructor, most likely. So we'll really get to meet you then. But just some other like basic things that we help you with, course sequencing. So like the order of the classes that you take, we help you with all of that. And the really nice thing is we schedule you for all of your classes during your first year. You don't have to worry at all about what classes you need to take during the first year. We take care of that for you. You just have to show up. So that's really exciting and makes things easier. We can help you if there are changes that need to be made. If you have transfer credits that you're coming in with, we can help you making sure that you're in the right classes. Graduation planning. I know you're just getting here, but we can help you plan out that future. Some of you like might want to know like right from the beginning, like what does this look like for me? We can help you with that. All financial aid and billing questions. That's what we're here for. We can help you navigate that because this is all new for you. Navigating available student resources. Maybe you need peer tutoring. We can help you find that. Maybe you need a graduate mentor. That's something you're going to talk about next week in your session. We can help you with that. Any types of things if you're struggling with something. I know last week you guys talked about executive functioning. If you come in and meet and you say you're struggling with a class, I'm going to remind you about those executive functioning sessions that you can go to. So we're here to help remind you of those resources, point you in the right direction. SCAD policies and procedures. We have a lot of policies and procedures just like you had in high school. We're going to help you with those if you're unclear or you need some help. Attendance, that's a big thing. Attendance is really important here at SCAD. So we're going to help make sure that you know what those attendance policies are. All right, so those are our roles. So the other big thing I'm going to talk to you about today, though, is MySCAD. MySCAD is the portal that you're going to use every day. It's how you do pretty much anything you're going to do here at SCAD. You're going to use your MySCAD portal. MySCAD is really your, I don't want to say it's your Google, but it's really your place that is designed for everything that you need here at SCAD. You're going to go to your MySCAD to find it. It's divided into 5 separate sections, and within each section, it's divided into channels. So we're going to go through each of the sections, and then I'm actually going to take you into MySCAD itself. And if you have your MySCAD and have the ability to pull it up during that time, we can go through and maybe practice a couple of things together. So the first section is home. Sounds just like what it is. It's your landing place at your home and where you're going to start. Then there's the student workspace. you're going to spend a lot of time in the student workspace. There are a lot of tools and resources for you there. Then the third one is My Info. There's going to be a lot of information in there that's related to you. And then resources. Like it sounds like there's a lot of resources available to you there. And then the very last place is the library. You're going to have access to SCAD's library through that section. So those are the parts that we're going to go through a little bit together. I really encourage you to go through and explore your My SCAD. You could probably spend a week going through all the different parts, and we will continue to help you navigate, but wanted to give you a little bit of a head start so you could kind of start figuring it out. So the first part is home. I'm just going to highlight a couple of things in each of the sections that I feel like are really important. And then, like I said, we'll go into it together. So in home, one of the things that you might want to use is the faculty roster. The faculty roster is really helpful because it gives you the contact information for staff here at SCAD. So if you had a professor that you wanted to be able to email, but you didn't know what their email address was, you could type their last name into the search box and it would bring up their email. What's also really cool is it brings up their picture. So you can be able to put a face to a name. So if you don't remember who somebody is and you want to jog your memory, that's a really great way to type it in and then their picture comes up and that can help you in that way. The other really cool thing on home is the events calendar. We have so many things available for you to do here at SCAD. The events calendar lets you see everything in one place. You can search by the type of event you're looking for. So if you're looking for something academic, you could search academic events. If you're looking for something social, you can put in those types of events. If you're looking for resources as far as tutoring and SCAD Extra, things like that, you can search in that way. So there's so many ways that you can figure out what's going on here at SCAD. And we really do want you to get connected. So I really encourage you to look at the SCAD events calendar. The next section is the student workspace, and we're going to spend a little bit of time on this one because there's so much information here in the workspace. The first part we're going to highlight is the academic profile. So the academic profile is a place where you can go and it will tell you your academic standing, your class standing. So right now, if you were to go into it, it would say that you were a first-year student, or it may even say that you're a sophomore. If you have a lot of transfer credits, you may already have sophomore standing. A question I get a lot, students will ask if they have enough credits to move on to the next level. And so that you're able to see that for yourself. So that's a really nice tool to be able to see that. It also tells you your degree and what level you are. So once you declare your major, which you haven't done yet, it will tell you what your degree is there. And also you're an undergraduate student. So it gives you some different information that you can look at right there to kind of see your profile. The next thing I want to highlight on this page is Blackboard Learn. Blackboard is what you use for all of your classes. That's the portal you're going to go to be able to access all of your classes, your syllabus, to be able to submit your assignments. Some of you may have already used this in high school, but it may be new to some of you as well. So Blackboard is where you're going to go once you're registered for all of your classes. A few days before class starts, your professor will give you access to your Blackboard class. And this is where you will do all of your coursework, is here in Blackboard. The next part in Student Workspace that I want to highlight is the Academic Resource Network. There are so many different tabs here that are going to be important. SCAD Extra is something that you're going to learn about next week, but SCAD Extra is where you can get help with all of your classes. You can attend workshops live. You can go to Zoom sessions for help. You can go to what's called open studios, which are drop-in times to get help with classes. You can also go to peer tutoring, where you sign up for sessions. All of these things are able to help you with classes throughout the week. So we strongly encourage you to use SCAD Extra. It's part of your SCAD experience. It is built in to your tuition. It's not something that's an extra service. It's something that you get as a SCAD student, and we really encourage you to take advantage of that. Another thing here is counseling and support services. You're going to learn more about these services as well. But again, as a SCAD student, you have access to our counseling services. So I encourage you to look at this tab and see all that we have available for you. The last thing that I want to highlight in this section is SCAD Accommodate. I know you've already talked about it, but I just wanted to highlight that this is where you will go. SCAD Accommodate is where you're going to go every quarter when you need to renew your accommodations. This is also where you will go to make an appointment with your accommodations advisor. So this is going to be a really important link for all of you. The next part of the student workspace is your undergraduate advising channel. This is the channel that's really important for student success and advising. Here you can go to make an appointment with me or with any advisor. If you have a different advisor, you will be able to click there to make an appointment. The really nice thing too is every advisor has a link to their calendar in their email. So any emails you get from your advisor, whether it's myself or Stephanie, you'll be able to click right on our email and make an appointment with us. We try to make it as easy as possible. We also have a drop-in schedule. So there's a link there to our drop-in schedule. As first-year students, you have the advantage of having us come to you a lot. We will have drop-in times at the Hive and at Chatham, where we will just be available for you. You'll just be able to come and sit down and chat with us. You won't have to make an appointment. You'll just be able to drop in when we're there and talk with us. And you'll also have us during FYE every week during that first quarter. So you'll have lots of opportunity to be able to ask us questions. The next part is our degree sequencing guides. I'm going to show you those when we go into my SCAD. The sequencing guides show you the classes that you need to take for each major. And this might even be something that you want to start to explore as you're maybe trying to identify what you want your major to be. The last thing in this section is the SCAD degree planner. This is a really great tool. Once you declare your major, it's going to show you every class that you need to take in order to graduate. Will also allow you to do a simulation so that you can look at, well, what if I wanted to add this major? Or what if I wanted to add this minor or that minor? It will show you the classes that you need to take in order to complete that. So it's a really nice tool that you have the ability to use. My screen is freezing. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, the next section of my SCAD is the My Info section. There are a few important things to note in here. One thing that you might want to do right away is My Personal Information. This is where you can update your MySCAD password. This is where you can update your name. If you have preferred pronouns, you can update them here. Also, your telephone number. Here's my pro tip. A lot of you may have your parents' phone number and not your phone number listed as the mobile. As student success advisors, we do text you sometimes. And if you have your parents' phone number in there, your parents may get a text from us if you miss class. If you don't want your parents to get a text from us that you missed class, then you want to make sure that you've updated that with your number. So go ahead and go in there and make sure that your phone numbers are correct. Also make sure your address and everything else is correct as well. The other thing that you can see in this section is your SCAD card balances. So once your meal plan is activated, you'll be able to see your meal plan in there and your dining dollar balances. And that can be helpful as you get close to the end of the quarter, so you make sure you spend every dollar. The next section of My Info is My Financial Aid. And this is where you'll be able to see a financial aid overview for a year. You'll also be able to get any financial aid forms that you may need. You can view your scholarships, and also you'll be able to view your FAFSA and any alternate loan information. If this sounds like a lot of information, we will help walk you through any of that you may need, but just wanted you to know that all of the financial aid information that you do need is at your fingertips here in this section. My student account online is a very important section of My Info because this is where you can view your account activity where you can see your bill. This is also where you can add an authorized user so that they can also get a copy of your bill. So if there's someone else that is helping you pay for college, you will want to add them as an authorized user so that they will also get an email about your bill every quarter. Otherwise, you will be the only one that will get an email saying when your bill is due. So I highly recommend that you add someone else as an authorized user in this section. You can also go in and set up direct deposit. If you're planning on getting refunds, then you will want to set that up so that the money can go directly to you and not go through the mail, which takes a lot longer. And you can also set up payment plans here. Again, if you have questions about any of this, that is what we're here for, and you can set up a meeting and I'll be glad to walk you through it. Resources, we're getting close to the end. Resources, there are a lot of different resources available. The thing that we're going to direct you to the most in this section is the SCAD student forms. And in SCAD student forms, there's a search box, and that is where you're going to find almost any form that we're going to direct you to during your time here at SCAD. Some examples of that is the FERPA waiver. The FERPA waiver is extremely important. If you have not filled one out yet, that is something you want to consider. The FERPA waiver allows us to be able to speak to someone else, such as your parent, about your academic and or financial record. So if you would like us to be able to talk to a parent or a guardian or someone else about your academic or financial record, you're going to want to fill out a FERPA waiver. We are not allowed to release information about your record to anyone without your permission. So you have to fill out a FERPA release for us to do that. So if you just type FERPA in the search box, then that will pop up and you just fill it out. It's a super quick, easy form. Prerequisite waivers is something else we might talk to you about. Sometimes you need to get a prerequisite waiver in order to be able to take a class. You have to waive another class. That's something that we can talk about in the future, but that is a place that you're going to go to do that. Same thing as change of location. Maybe you're taking classes in Savannah now, but you want to go to Atlanta in the future. You would fill out a change of location form, and this is where you would find it. Also, every single one of you is going to be declaring your major in a few short months, and this is where you're going to go to do it. Don't worry about it now. We're going to do it together. It's going to be super exciting. We do it in FYE during week 3, but we will go here together and have that experience of you getting to declare your major. And the very last section of MySCAD is the library. We have databases here that you can search to get access to all the wonderful SCAD libraries that we have. We do have a beautiful library in Savannah that you can go to. But if you're looking for library access online, we do have it right here in your MySCAD. All right, I've done a lot of talking. So now I want to be able to show you some of these resources. So I'm going to stop this presentation and I'm going to go into MySCAD. If you do have your computer up and you have your MySCAD available, then you're welcome to go along with me and check out these different areas. If not, you can follow along and later you can watch the recording and practice when you have access to your MySCAD.
Hey, Tabitha, while you get that pulled up, I was
Yes.
going to ask a couple of the questions that have come in throughout your first section. And so one student asked, when you were going over your scheduling link, when would be a good time to schedule a meeting with your advisor?
It depends on what it is that they want to talk about. It's always a good time to schedule a meeting with your advisor. We do recommend that you meet with your advisor quarterly so that we can talk about your classes. Like I said, your first year, we are scheduling your classes for you. And during the first quarter, we are seeing you a lot during first year experience, but we always want to get to know you and talk about any questions or concerns you may have. So if you have questions at this point, we typically don't start meeting with incoming students until closer to classes starting. But because you guys are doing Be Ready to Buzz, I did go ahead and give you my calendar link. So if you do have something, and my email address is in my background. So if you do have something pressing, feel free to reach out and I'll be glad and, answer that for you. But generally we start to see students, as the quarter is starting. And like I said, quarterly, we recommend, and sometimes we see students more. I have some students I see every couple of weeks. It just really depends on your comfort level and what questions you may have.
Perfect, thank you. And then one
Yes.
real quick other question, since we do have some Atlanta and SCAD Now individuals joining us here, can you tell us a little bit about what advising looks like for them?
Absolutely. If you are in Atlanta, we do have a first year team member there. His name is Andrew. And so most likely he will be your advisor as a first year. You may have someone else, but he is the main advisor for Atlanta. But advising works pretty much the same there as it does here in Savannah. And then for online students, you will have Stephanie or I as well. So we will have the same group of students. However, your first year experience instructor will most likely be Lena Sampson.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. And then
You're
finally,
welcome.
one question that came in before you get started on your MySCAD navigation was, what kind of timeline should incoming students expect for their class schedules to be released to them?
That's an excellent question. We are starting to work on those already. It's a manual process. So we put all of you into classes based on recommendations from the deans and the chairs of the majors that you're interested in. So we will most likely publish those to you mid-August. Sometimes there is some changing that still happens after that. So it's not set in stone until right before classes start, but we generally try to get them out to you, at least the first draft, mid-August.
Perfect. And then one more quick note is some of you have mentioned to me that you don't see the resources tab yet for incoming students. That's totally fine. That's usually one of the last tabs to get added to your MySCAD. And so have no fear. It will be there before you start at SCAD, and just, you can always go back and look at this recording. Okay.
Yes, yes. And resources is really, that's where you're being able to look at those forms, and you don't need any of those forms yet. So you're absolutely fine with where you are, and there's plenty for you to look at before you get that added. So, so let me go ahead and share. So you can, everyone see my SCAD?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is actually has one extra tab on what you have. You can see that there's a workspace and a student workspace, but you only have the student workspace. So yours will be a little bit different. So on home here, like I talked about, really the main things, faculty roster. If I were to type in my name, it comes up here as a hyperlink and I can click on it. Oh, I don't know why I got an error. I do exist, I promise. You guys have already seen my picture though. But normally somebody comes right up. Let me try somebody else. Okay. Oh, I actually know why. So this is a good teaching tool. The picture only comes up if you're using Google Chrome. I'm using Firefox right now, so that is why it's not working. So the preferred browser to use MySCAD is Google Chrome. So that's a tech tip for you right there. Here's the events calendar. And so, like I said, you can view everything, but if you click on it, it's thinking. It's taking a long time. Here you can see all of the events, but you can filter here. So this filter button is really nice because you have a lot of events. Sometimes you're really looking for something in particular. You can sort by all kinds of things. You could search by location. So for those of you that are online, if you just want to search by virtual events, you can search by by for locations. There's no virtual ones that are coming up on here, but there's tons of virtual events. So we're going to search that in a different way. But we can search by Savannah or Atlanta. If we search by experiences, we can search by in-person or virtual. So that way you have that ability. If you are at home during the summer, there are so many, and during winter break, there are so many virtual opportunities that you have, so you can really keep plugged in all year round. So I highly recommend that you look at the different virtual experiences that are available. You can choose event series. So you will learn about SCAD AMP. You can do SCAD AMP workshops, SCAD Extra you're going to learn about next week. You can choose those. So there really are so many different filters that you can do to learn about all those different things. And you can start engaging in some of them now even. Okay, now we're going to go to the workspace. Okay. I'm going to the student workspace. Oh no. Oh, that's going to be challenging. Let's see if I can get to the mind though. I can get to home. Thank you all for your patience. Technology did not always work the way we wanted to. Okay, maybe there are some questions while I try to re-log into this.
Yep, I've got one. Can we do SCAD AMP workshops this summer, but the summer prior to SCAD?
That is an excellent question.
Like virtual ones, yeah.
Right.
I feel like I've had that one before and I can't quite remember. Because I do think you just need, if you're signing up for one of those, you just need your SCAD email and account information. So I feel like that could be, it's just a matter of if it counts towards that completion certificate if you're prior to starting it.
Right. That's my question in my mind as well.
Yeah.
That's something we will have to follow up and get
Yeah.
back to you for sure. I don't see why not, but I don't know for 100%. Because yes, you need a student ID, which you have. Okay, I got student workspace work, so now let me share it.
Jennifer, I will figure that out for you and I will email you individually once I figure, and I can let students know next week if that's a possibility. So I'll get that information for you.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, here's the student workspace. So here's that academic profile that I was talking about. So it will tell you what your class standing is. So you will be a first year when you come in, and it will tell you your degree once you've declared your major, and it will tell you that you're an undergraduate. It will give you your midterm, and that is going to be helpful when you look at your degree planner, because everyone has a catalog year that they are using for their degree sequencing. So the year that you come in is your catalog year. So that means you are taking classes based on the year you started, because sometimes a major changes, the requirements change. If they change, you're not required to take those new requirements. You get to stay with the requirements of the year that you started in. So that's really helpful. The campus is going to tell you what campus you're in. So this person is SCAD now online. You can change between campuses. We talked about that change the location form. So you're able to do that. You're also able to see who your advisors are. So if you're ever not sure, you're able to see it right there. You're able to see your grades once you have those. And then this is where you're going to register, which we're not going to talk about right now because you're not even going to learn to do that until next spring for the following year. But I also wanted to look at this student toolkit here. This is where you have Blackboard. So you guys do not have access to that yet, but when it's time for you to start classes, you will have access to Blackboard, and that is where you will access all of your classes, including first year experience. So I'm sure that you'll bookmark that and you'll have that available for you to use. All right. We're going to scroll down. Over here on the left, this Academic Resource Network, SCAD Extra. You guys are going to be talking about this next week. I'm just going to click on it briefly. When you click on it, this is where you can schedule an appointment for peer tutoring. Okay. I strongly encourage you to utilize this resource. This can help you with any class that you're taking. You make an appointment and you can go and get extra help with anything you may need. You can get help with writing, you can get help with math. You can also go to open studios. So if you're taking a design or a drawing class, which most of you will be taking in the fall, if you want to be able to just go to an open studio time, it's a 2-hour time where like every Saturday from 2 to 4, for example, there was a design open studio. You can just go and get help. You don't have to have an appointment, and you can just get help with whatever project you're working on. It's just a great resource to be able to go. You can even just go because you want to work on your project, and that's a dedicated time that you can go and be around other people that are also using that same program. So that just in case you have a question, there are people there that know that program that can help you. So this is where you're going to find all of that information here. And like I said, you'll learn more about that next week as well. Counseling and support services, I think is here, and SCAD Accommodate is here. So everything you need is right in this section. Undergraduate advising, we talked about. So if I wanted to make an appointment, if I'm in Savannah or on SCAD now, I'm going to click there. If I don't remember who my advisor is, and I'm going to see this list. So here you see right at the top, first year students, all majors, that's you. Here's the list of the first year advisors. So here I am right here, and here's Stephanie right here that we talked about. If I were to click on book appointment, it's going to take me to Calendly, and that's what we use to book appointments. And here you can see you have the option of booking an in-person, a Zoom, or a phone appointment with me. I will let you know that I recommend that you do not make a phone appointment, that you do a Zoom or an in-person appointment. And the reason why I say that is because I like to share my screen. And sometimes you need to share your screen. So if we're on the phone, we can't do that. So if you schedule a Zoom appointment, you don't have to necessarily even show your face. I like to see your face, but you don't have to. But it allows me to be able to share my screen with you to show you your degree planner or to show you any type of resources that I may need to show you very easily. So if you can make a Zoom appointment or an in-person appointment, that is definitely the preference. So that's super easy. You just do that right there. Then if you want to know what the drop-in schedule is, maybe you haven't made an appointment and you realize you need to change a class, you would be able to click on that. And you can see the links here. We don't have drop-ins during the summer, so there isn't anything listed here, but during the school year, you would see the list of when the drop-in appointments were. We have them on Zoom and we have them in person. I do want to highlight our student success website because it has so much information. So, you know, if you're bored, you're home this summer, and you're looking for something to do, you can just go look at our student success website. There are so many things here on the side that I've even talked about today. Change of location, course registration, sequencing guides, financial aid. I mean, you name it. There's so many different resources here. So I encourage you in your spare time to go check this out. I do want to show you the sequencing guides because I do think this is something that you may want to check out. So if I click on these sequencing guides here, you're going to choose 23-24, even though I know that you're starting in the 24-25 school year, but the 23-24 is the last time we've updated them at this point. Then you will see every major that we have here at SCAD. We have in parentheses what campus, because not every major is offered at every campus. So this is really important to pay attention to. So for example, if you really want to be a sculpture major and you're in Savannah, that's not going to happen because we only have it in Atlanta. So looking at what's in parentheses will help you. Fashion marketing and management, it says all because we offer that online, we offer it in Savannah, and we offer it in Atlanta. Okay, so this is really important to pay attention to. But I'm going to go to acting. So if I click on acting, this shows me all of the classes that I need to take if I'm an acting major. From the top, first year, this is fall, winter, spring. Second year, fall, winter, spring. Third year, fall, winter, spring, all the way to the end of fourth year. Okay. I do want to emphasize though, this is just one pathway. This is all the classes that you need, but this isn't the exact order that you necessarily have to take all of the classes in. This is just showing how you could get those classes accomplished. It is showing you what the first year is going to look like. But do you see how this says group A? This is one group of first year students is going to take these classes in this order in the first year. But then there's a group B that's going to take them in this order. They're going to take the same classes, group A and group B, but they might not be in the exact same order. Okay. Now, if you have transfer credits, yours isn't going to look exactly like this because maybe you've already taken some of these classes. So you might start moving down into the second year classes. Okay, so that's why I'm saying it's not just one pathway. So you aren't necessarily going to follow this in the exact order. But something to pay attention to, if there is a class in parentheses, so here where it says Design 102, Design 100 is in parentheses, that's a prerequisite. That means you have to take Design 100 before you can take Design 102. So anytime there is something in parentheses, those classes have to be taken first. So if I look here at Design 204, there are 3 things in parentheses. That means I have to take Digi 130, Design 101, and Design 102 before I can take that class. Okay, so this is really helpful in that way. You'll also see that sometimes you get a choice. Here it says select one of these 3 options and it gives you 3 classes to choose from. Okay, so you're going to see that with some majors too. Every major is different. That's part of the reason you have a student success advisor. We're here to help you navigate this. But I just wanted you to know this was here because it gives you an idea of what classes you're going to take for the majors that you're interested in and what the general order is going to be. So I recommend that with the majors that you're thinking about, that you look at those because like I said, in week 3, you're going to declare your major. Now, if that's stressing you out, I promise you, if you declare a major in week 3, it is not set in stone. You can still change your mind. We declare majors in week 3 because we want to make sure that we've put you in the right classes for winter and spring. So if you declare a major, if you declare 3D animation in week 3, and you take classes and you change your mind and decide you want to do sequential art, we can do that. So it's not set in stone. It's just the first major you've declared. You absolutely can change your mind and we will talk you through all of that. So if you know what you want to do now and you're set on that, that's great. If you don't know what you want to do now, that is also okay. I just wanted you right now to have these tools of things that you can look at so you can see what some of your options are and what the classes look like. This degree planner, we're not going to get into this today, but if you hear someone talking about degree planner, I just wanted you to know that this is here in this section. And we can talk about it in a meeting too if you want to know more. Career and alumni success. This channel is to meet with your career and alumni success advisor. That's something else we'll also talk about in your first year experience class. And then study abroad. This is something you can look at on your own as well. We will talk about this in the future. If you're interested in traveling to Lacoste or any of our short-term excursions, this is something to look forward to in the future. All right, my info. Thinking again. Did not go to my info.
Tabitha, while you get the my info
Yes.
situated, I've got some questions we
Okay.
can pepper in there. One of the students asked, she had, or they'd opened up their degree planner and it looked like there were some work pages in there. Are they supposed to complete that?
In their degree planner?
Maybe. Mary, let me find it again. On the SCAD degree planner, it shows work pages based on our major. Are we supposed to complete them? Maybe that, are we, Malayla, are we speaking about the sequencing guide?
It was on my went to the SCAD degree planner. It was saying like Bachelor's of Fine Arts had the different things that were red. I didn't know if we're supposed to complete it or not. It was red.
The degree planner would be empty at this point for you because you haven't declared a major.
Okay.
So you don't need to do anything in there yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe hold
Thank
off
you.
on doing anything there. That was a perfect segue into, thank you, into our next question. Do you have to declare a major by week 3?
That's an excellent question. You do not have to declare a major by week 3. We strongly encourage it. By week 5, we are wanting students to declare a major. If you are not comfortable with doing that by week 5, that is a discussion that we're going to have together about why that is and what you're thinking about. And if there's a compelling reason not to, then we will talk about that and have a plan for that. So I do sometimes have students that wait a little bit longer, but we'll talk through the reasons of why it's a good idea to declare that major, and we can always change it again. So if there's advantages to doing it because then you can see the path in degree planner. It also helps us plan out your winter and spring classes, but we can talk through all of that. And like I said, nothing is permanent. So if you make a choice, you're not stuck in that path. So don't stress about it.
Perfect. And then quick follow-up for that. If you do change it along the way, are you able to do that at any time? Is there a cutoff point?
Great question. So the first time that you declare your major, you can declare your major and your minor, and that's something you can do yourself, and we'll teach you how to do that. And then anytime you make changes after that, you have to do it through your student success advisor because we have to talk through any implications that that might have. You can change your major at any time, but the longer you wait, the further along you are in your degree, it could mean that you're going to be here longer. Because if you say you change your major drastically, you're an animation student and you decide that you want to be a film student and you're a junior, you're going to have a lot of film classes to take. So it's going to mean you're going to be here longer at SCAD. And that's something we would advise you on. We would tell you, well, you can change your major, but you're going to be here 2 extra years to finish all the classes.
All right. And then finally, how do they declare and manage a minor?
So the first minor, we will teach you how to do that when you declare your major. You can declare multiple minors. After that first minor, you have to do it with your student success advisor. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure you know how long you're going to be here at SCAD, because each minor is 5 to 6 classes. So if you're adding on a second minor, that's going to be 5 additional classes, which means you're going to be here another 2 quarters. So we want to make sure you understand exactly how long that's going to add to your time here at SCAD.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. That's all the questions.
Okay, perfect. And can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so my info should be up now. We're just gonna go through this one quickly. This is where, like I said, you can change your phone number if your parents' phone number is still in there. This is also where you can change your preferred name and your personal pronoun. This is also where you can get a parking decal. I know nobody's gonna get a parking ticket, but if you do, you can pay it there as well. And then this is where you could do your dining hall information. In the center is where you have your financial aid information. So here's everything that you need for financial aid, for the FAFSA, any type of loans that you have. That's going to be in the center. But on the right here, My Student Account Online, this is where you actually can see your bill, which you don't have one yet. So if you click on it, you're not going to see a bill, but you will get an email when your first bill is ready. And then this is also where you can add that authorized user. So if someone else is helping you pay for college, I strongly recommend that you add them as an authorized user so that they will also get an email whenever you get a bill. Okay. You can enroll in payment plans and make payments here as well. The last thing I want to highlight here is there's also Residence Life channel. So Residence Life housing, anything related to Residence Life, you're going to go here. That is something of a student success advisor. I do not handle housing. So if you have housing question, you are going to want to go to SCAD Home. And this is where you can access those things here. All right, our last section, hopefully it works, fingers crossed, for resources. I'm not going to do the library one. You got the picture on that one. That's all there is to it. It worked. Okay, you guys don't have access to this one anyway yet, but it literally is just, and the text box isn't even coming up. Where it says SCAD form, there'll be a text box. You just type in it. If you were to type in FERPA, then that's where you could sign that FERPA release to give access for anyone that you designate to have access for us to be able to talk to them. So if you wanted me to talk to your mom or talk to your dad or talk to your aunt, then you would need to fill out a FERPA waiver for each of those people. Okay. If you're interested in the gym, you do your waiver here. So that may be a highlight for some of you as well. All right, that was a super fast and basic MySCAD. What are our final questions on that?
I think we've got pretty much all the questions answered throughout. If you feel like I missed your question, you can put it back in the chat, but I think throughout we were able to get most of the things answered. So if you have any final questions for Tabitha before she signs off, please let us know, or you can take a photo of her background with all that information on it. But yeah, Tabitha, I think all the ones in the chat are answered.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad I got to give you guys a little sneak peek introduction. You guys will be ahead of the game when you start. And I can't wait to see you guys when you come to campus. If any of you are coming to SCAD Bound, I will be hanging out in the Office of Disability. So please come in and say hi, and orientation week as well. So I look forward to meeting all of you.
Great. Thank you so much, Tabitha. Everybody, round of
welcome.
applause for Tabitha. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
What
You're
amazing
welcome.
information. So thanks so much. We are going to move on to Jen. Jen from our Office of Neurodiversity Services. And she is going to talk to us a little bit today about being a professional student at SCAD, about creating your own brand at SCAD, and about the Office of Neurodiversity Services. Oops, and Jen, I think you're muted.
Hi. Yep, I just got off the meeting. Hey, let's see if I can screen share. All right. Hopefully you're all seeing my screen. I am super psyched to be speaking with you all today. I'm Jen Chiavaci from the Office of Neurodiversity Services. I threw up a little screenshot here of our office. We work with students to provide access and supports to our neurodiverse population. We work in the areas of self-regulation, management, executive function, and social skills interaction. Check out our Neurodiversity SCAD club, NeuroSCAD. Okay, so if you're looking to join clubs, I know they're always looking for new members, and I hope you'll consider that. So today, I have a real quick question that I'm hoping I'll get some answers on. By chance, is anyone working this summer?
Oh.
And if you are working, are there any expectations that your employer has of you?
And Jen,
Okay.
real quick, before we get into the chat, do you mind just making it a little bit bigger for us here, the present button at the bottom? It's that little thing next to, over a little bit more to your left. Yep,
Oh,
that one right there.
Got you. Sorry about
Perfect.
that. Thank
No,
you.
you're all good.
Totally forgot about that. Thank you so much. Okay, so is anyone working this summer? If you are working, are there any expectations that your employer has of you?
Probably to always be patient with parent. Like I work at a summer camp, so it's always to be patient with the parents and the kids. I mean, the kids is a given, but sometimes it can be harder with the parents.
Okay, that's a really good, William. Thank you. That's professionalism. Anyone else? Okay, so William, that was really brave. Thank you for speaking. So today what we're going to talk about is I want to talk about succeeding in style and student professionalism. So the moment you walk onto this campus, it is really important for you to think about how you're presenting yourself. You are going to be in a creative career and you want to build, who you are, you want to build your brand, and there's some things you really want to kind of hone in on skill-wise. And one of those is communication. I want you to think about your words and your actions. They always send a message. Also, once you hit the campus and you start some of your classes, you'll be doing some studios where you might be doing some drawing and designing. And these studios are probably going to involve some critiquing where people are critiquing your work and you're also critiquing, your peers' work. So that's something I want to speak with you about today. And I also want to speak with you about building your brand. Okay, so basically, what's communication? Communication is simply the act of transferring information from one place, person, or group to another. Every communication involves at least one sender, a message, and a recipient. So how we communicate is important. So effective and professional communication. Effective communication is the process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, knowledge, and information such that the purpose or intention is filled in the best possible manner. That's a lot of words. So let's put it in simple words. Very simply, it is nothing but the presentation of views by the sender in a way that is best understood by the receiver. So every time you're communicating and you're saying something, you want to think about what is the other person going to hear? Are they going to hear what you're trying to put forth as an idea? And are you saying it in the best possible way? Effective communication tips, really important. Know your audience. Who are you speaking to? My interaction with my close friends that I grew up with might be not professional. We might share some history, some jokes, be silly with each other. But if I am interacting with my employer, I'm certainly not going to necessarily be behaving that way. My interaction is going to be professional. I'm going to think about what I'm saying, how I'm presenting. So really think about these when you hit the campus. Who's your audience? Are you talking to your friends? Is there anyone else around you? Are they hearing your conversation, and how would that reflect on you if someone else shared your conversation? Is a professor or a dean present? And what kind of communication and what kind of impression do you want to make? You're building your brand as a professional. once you hit this campus. So keep those things in mind. Another thing, you know, word choice is a small part of communication. It's important, but it's a small part. Another really important thing to think about is tone. It is very important when you're communicating to think about your tone. So if we try this sentence, what were you thinking? In different tones, and you can do this yourself. I'm going to use one. What were you thinking? That's kind of inquisitive. And it gives you like, I want to know more information about what you were thinking. But if I say, what were you thinking? That comes across really angry, and it's a really different communication. So when you are speaking, think about your tone. Another thing you really want to think about is your body language. So what is your body language saying? If I do this and kind of look at you like this, do I look like I'm happy to be there? Am I presenting that I want to hear your information, or am I kind of putting you off? You want to think about your body language and what you're communicating. If I have my arms back and I'm kind of leaning forward, you see that I'm engaged with you and that I want to hear what you're expressing. That's important when you're communicating with another person. The other thing I really want you to consider is asking questions. We all come from a different background with different experiences, and sometimes we have folks that may have different cultural experiences. Don't assume that you know or understand the information based on your own assumptions. Ask questions. And this also goes in the classroom. Ask questions. If there's something that you're confused about, ask. Don't assume you're the only one who doesn't understand. You may have someone else who's afraid to ask that question. You're asking it may clarify it for them. And it's really important. This is your education. You want to communicate with your professors and with your peers. You want to understand what's going on, and you want to take the time to really delve into anything that is unclear to you so that you can do your best performance. Another piece of communication is listening. So we learn from others. So I really want you to think about this. To be a good listener, when you're talking to someone, nodding every so often, that lets them know you're hearing them. Clarify what you're hearing. That might be repeating back what you heard. Geez, so I think what I heard you just say is that you'd really like to see more contrast in this picture. That's an example. Don't be defensive. Again, we're going to be doing some critiquing. Kind of mentioned that earlier. Critiques are not personal. And sometimes they may feel personal because it's your work that you really put a lot of time and energy into, and nobody wants to hear something negative or that they feel is negative about their work. Maintain eye contact. Every so often, we need to kind of look at the person, let them know that we are participating in that communication and we're hearing them. Eye contact is part of that. Be aware of your facial expressions. I am a really horrible one at this because whatever I'm thinking generally shows on my face. But it's a really, from a professional standpoint, it's a really good idea. Are you frowning? Are you smiling? Are you just not paying attention, looking away? You know, do you look bored? Are you rolling your eyes? That is all communication, and it's going to communicate to the person that is receiving your message. So in communication, sometimes a question that students ask is, you know, can I call SCAD staff and faculty? Sometimes you are going to reach out to people. If you are doing that, please always be polite and professional on the phone. You want to treat this like you are setting up an appointment, that you're working with an employer. So put your best foot forward. If by chance you are calling and did not connect with the person on the phone and you need to leave a message, make sure that you leave a clear, concise message that identifies who you are and your return phone number. So in looking at this, I kind of put an example here. Hi, Professor Jones. This is Simon Smith from your Monday, Wednesday, 8 a.m. Into Ideas class. I'm trying to complete the assignment that is due on Friday. I would like to clarify a concept you mentioned today in class. Here's my phone number, 404 867-5309. I look forward to speaking with you. Now, if you are calling a professor, don't call 10 times in a row and not leave a message. Or if you're reaching out to anyone staff-wise at SCAD, that's probably not a good professional practice. But not leaving a message is not a good professional practice either. So definitely leave a message and don't expect that they're going to be able to get back to you within 15 minutes. If I'm working with 135 or 140 students and they're all making a phone call, it might take me a little while to get to them. So patience is important. Written communication tips. All communications from SCAD are going to come to your personal SCAD email. So it's important that you are checking your email. It is also important that you are always using your SCAD email for communications. So anytime you are contacting someone on the SCAD campus, it should be done through your SCAD student email. If you need an answer to something sooner rather than later, don't be afraid to put a high priority flag on your email. It's that little red flag. You're going to learn about that in Digi Communications. So definitely ask your Digi professor about that. If you don't know how to do it, you can also Google that. So you can find out how to do that on Google. By chance, if you spoke with a professor in class, don't anticipate that that professor is going to remember that conversation. It is always a really good idea to provide a follow-up email to recount what was shared. So perhaps you said in class to your professor, hey, I really need to use my accommodations extension. And then you submit late work and the professor who dealt with 140 students that day didn't remember that communication. That's going to leave you in a kind of a not good position. So professionally speaking, it is always a good idea to recount that information, send it by email so that that professor doesn't forget. It's a record. You create a record of the conversation you had, which is backup to make sure that you get your accommodation. Anything written leaves a lasting impression. So be thoughtful about what your words say and how they reflect on you. I can say that there are times when we get emotional about something that we may not agree with. Think about that before you send an emotional email. You might want to step away, give it a day, reread it, have someone else look at that email if you have someone you're comfortable with to do that. Sometimes a mom and dad, hey, can you look at this? Or a friend. You want to make sure that you're communicating professionally and factually about anything that you are emotional about. Spell check is a great thing. Spelling and punctuation, pay attention to those things. They do reflect on how your professionalism is received on the other end. I've had some professors where I've seen them send emails to students say, you need to work on your professionalism in your correspondence by email. So definitely think about that. And don't use shouty capitals. No one likes shouty capitals. They do not make us feel good as humans. Also, one other thing is every email, you want to make sure that you have your email signature on it. So on every device, make sure there's an email signature. In the signature, you want to have your name, your SCAD ID number, your current classes, tip from me, professional tip, set a reminder in your phone prior to the start of each new quarter to update your email signature because your classes are going to change quarterly. Putting this information in your email helps your professors, it helps your student success advisors, anyone who's receiving that email, it gives them an idea of what class you're in, how they can access information about you. And this is important so that we can effectively communicate back with you. Here's an example. I use BEST, Simon Smith with a student ID number. I put in there the performing arts major. And then put in the classes. Also, do you have any affiliations? Is there something from a branding standpoint that you might want to put down there? Maybe you have a YouTube channel and you want people to see it. Maybe you want someone to follow you on social media. You could include that in your email signature. It's one more way to get your brand and who you are out there. We're going to talk about that a little bit more too. Good examples of emails. When emailing your professors, it is important to remember your audience. We talked about that earlier. You want to treat them as your employer. How would you speak to your employer? You should think of your role as a professional student addressing those professors. Remember that you are practicing for your creative careers in the future. Everything you're doing now is setting you up for success in the future when you are out in the workforce. Good emails continued on your subject line. Not a bad idea to put your class, your section, your time. Again, using a flag or writing urgent if you're looking for a quick response. Use a salutation. This is good. Dear Professor Smith. Definitely something you want to put there. Don't just say, hey, that's not professional. Be clear and specific with the intent of your message. This is a good thing. Concise, be clear, let them know exactly what you're looking to find out so that they can respond quickly as possible to you. Really a good idea, as I mentioned earlier, I might be working with 140 students. If you have 3 questions for your class and you're sending me 3 separate emails, if we multiply that by 140 students, that's a lot of email for a professor to try to wade through. It is a really good idea to address all your concerns, if you're able, in one email. And that goes for advising to your student success advisor or anyone else that you're reaching out to. Here are my concerns. That way they can address it all in one email and there isn't this email volley back and forth. That's professional. Be sure to have your signature line in your email. Bad examples of email communications. Starting an email without a salutation. A salutation is, and not reminding professors who you are and what class you are in. It's not good. Refrain from oversharing. That's not a good thing either. You don't want to discuss things that don't pertain to your class. It's not professional. That's not good. Keep it contained to what it has to do with your education, your academics. Be really specific that way. Less is more. One other little tip from me, if you're using accommodations and you're asking for more time, your accommodations are related to a disability. So if you say, oh, I was up all night and didn't go to bed because I went out to listen to this music and then I went to play flag football in the middle of the night with flashlights, your professor's probably going to look at you and say, that's not a reason to use your accommodation. That's not related to your disability. So sometimes less is more. Think about what you're sharing. Another thing is refrain from emojis and slang. Not good. You want to keep your communications professional. How often are you checking your email? So here's my tip and my recipe for email checking. First thing in the morning, check your email. Why? What if we have a hurricane? What if, unfortunately, a professor got sick and had to cancel the class? Do you really want to show up at that 8 a.m. class when you could have slept another 2 hours and find out that there's no class? Check your email first thing in the morning. I would advise checking it before breakfast, checking it at lunch, checking it at dinner. Professors are going to communicate with you, and sometimes all of a sudden they may say, oh my goodness, you need to bring this ruler with you today for the project we're doing, and they may have forgotten to communicate that. You want to make sure you're prepared. The other thing I'm going to say is you're going to get emails from SCAD Home. You're going to get financial emails. All of these things you need to pay attention to. You don't want to get an email talking about signing up for housing for next year and not meet your deadlines. Or you don't want to find out that you didn't pay your financial bill the way you're supposed to, and now you can't register for your classes. pay attention to your emails. And I always say, check your email before you go to bed. One more, talking about going to bed, one more professional tip. Think about what you need the next day. Make sure you have everything ready for the next morning for each of your classes. What do you need to bring with you? Professionalism tips. Be on time for your classes and meetings. My recommendation is to try to be 10 to 15 minutes early. Maybe you had something, your professor's there and you wanted to make a quick question and you weren't able to hit their office hours. Use your office hours with your professors, by the way. They really can be valuable for you. Treat your professors as your employer. Be prepared. Do you have all your materials? Are your assignments completed? Did you submit your assignments according to the metrics that your professor put forth? You know, those are important things to think about. Review your syllabus. Every assignment usually has an outline of what it is that you are responsible for, what goals they want to see in your assignment. Look at those briefs. Make sure that you've done what you're supposed to do. And if you have questions, definitely reach out and ask. Treat your peers as your coworkers. Now you're going to make some friends. Whoops, went ahead. Sorry about that. So I went the wrong way. Pardon me. No, totally. I'm off my game here. There we go. Sorry about that. So definitely you want to treat your peers as your coworkers. Sometimes you're going to be doing group projects with them and you want to be respectful of their needs and their time, just as you want them to be respectful of your needs, your times, and your opinions and their opinions. Ask questions to clarify information. Professionalism. What do you look like today? You know, it's important for you to take care of you. Hygiene matters. There are a lot of things that you're going to have to learn when you get here. Some of us didn't do laundry before we went to college and had to learn that. We have to balance where and when we go to meals, studying, our classes, buses. Make sure you prioritize what you look like too and that you're doing some self-care, not only for yourself, but also for those you're interacting with. The other thing I'm going to suggest to you is to make a schedule. I would highly recommend making 2 schedules. One of them, I would say, do for the week. What does your week look like every day? When do you go to classes? What time do I need to catch the bus? When am I going to study? Block these things out. When am I going to eat? What time do I go to bed? You want to really kind of put a schedule together so that you are setting yourself up for success. To be professional and be successful, you need a weekly schedule. The other schedule I'm going to suggest you do is a 10-week schedule each quarter. Now on that schedule, I want you to put all your classes, look at all your classes, all the assignments that are due. And I want you to kind of map those out on that schedule, because sometimes you're going to find maybe you have back-to-back assignments that are due. You want to plan for that. You want to be able to look at the week prior and say, I have a lot to get done. How do I make sure both these assignments are done timely? And you're going to want to schedule your time accordingly. So I think those are important things. I would mark down, when are my midterms? When are my finals? See if there's any overlapping information there with your classes. Also, end of quarter, when do I need to move out and what does that look like and who should I talk to? So those are all some things that I would suggest you think about. Okay, moving on. Critiques. So you're going to do a lot of critiques here of your work with your peers. And it's really important to think about that. Critiquing. Basically, critiquing is evaluating something in a detailed and analytical way. So that's how I want you to approach your critiques. Some barriers to effective communication about critiques are judging. Keep in mind that we all come from a different place with our abilities to draw and design. If I'm studying fashion management, I might not have done a lot of drawing classes in my past, whereby if I'm an illustrator or maybe an animator, maybe drawing something I've done a lot. So I could be in class next to someone who's an illustrator who's a really fabulous at drawing. And in Draw 100, I might not feel that I am anywhere near they are with their abilities. Don't judge yourself and don't judge others. We're all there to do the best work we can based on what our abilities are, and our professors are going to look at us that way. Using too much technical language, that's a barrier to communication. We want someone to understand what we're trying to send to them message-wise. Not paying attention. There's nothing quite as unkind as someone's work being up there and we're not paying attention because maybe we're looking over there or we're on our phone. Think about that body language, think about being present and how we are displaying ourselves. We want them to pay attention to our work, pay attention to theirs, and give them that same kind of politeness and opportunity. Giving unwanted advice, that's not something we want to do either with our critiques. So, talking about that, Critiques 101. When you are in a critique situation and you are looking at other people's works, one of the things I want you to think about, what was the goal of the assignment? So what was it the professor wanted you to do in this assignment? Okay, so when you're looking at this other person's work, that's something to think about. Critiquing, there are kind of three types of critiquing. There's destructive critiquing, which is basically tearing something down. That is something we do not want to do. It's going to hurt the other person, and it's not going to reflect on you as a professional very well. Constructive criticism, that is basically when you are identifying a problem or a solution, you're offering a solution to something. Instructive is when you're adding to what we already know. So when you are critiquing, you're going to want to say, hey, what was executed well? And verbally share this information. You want to look at that project and say what was not executed well. Share this information kindly. You know, it's kind of saying something is ugly. It's not exactly a really nice critique. It's kind of destructive. But if I said, hey, that subject matter is not one that I would have focused on, that gives a very different message. Also, make a thoughtful suggestion about what you would add to the content to make the value of whatever that person has created lift it up. Okay, so it's kind of like that compliment sandwich idea. Give a compliment, tell them something that you'd like to see done differently, and then back it up with something else positive. Building your brand. So everything you are doing once you enter this campus and start interacting with your peers and with staff, you're starting to build a brand on who you are. So the question is, how are you going to present yourself as an upcoming artist? Do you want to present yourself professionally and put your best foot forward? It's probably something that would be a really positive thing to do. How are you going to pitch your creative career? One other thing to think about is time at SCAD is going to go really quickly. I know right now you're coming and doing something new and it's exciting and different. 4 years goes by really fast. So keep that in the back of your head. Everything you have an opportunity to take advantage of, I highly recommend you do, because that is going to help you build your brand and build yourself as a professional in the future. So that said, get to know your resources. There are some opportunities, and if you listened today to Tabitha, she talked about career and alumni success. I have outlined that here. Career and alumni success is going to be your key to helping you build portfolios, to resume building, to access possibly to future employers. Sometimes students are looking to do internships. They may have some recommendations on places where other students have done internships. They're going to be a key that I want you to reach out to as part of your circle. So I would advise definitely trying to get in touch with them, build a rapport, and start working on those key aspects to your brand and your future now, once you hit the campus, by the way. SCAD events. Tabitha mentioned something about SCAD events and showed you where to find them. I am going to highly recommend, to be successful in building your brand and having a career path that you're kind of actively looking at, to go to those events. Who did something well? There are so many fabulous speakers who come to SCAD. Learn from them. Go take the opportunity to visit those and attend those events. Also, I heard a student mention SCAD amps. Yay, I was really glad to hear that. SCAD amps are a fabulous way for you to gain professional skills. You're going to find that there are a whole bunch of SCAD amps. If you do all of them, you're going to get a certificate. I will say to you, from working outside of SCAD in a professional capacity, there are employers who will bring people like this in to train their staff on the subjects that SCAD amps offer. You have this at your fingertips. Utilize those tools. They are there. They're part of why you're here. Definitely, it's a thumbs up. And also, if you go to SCAD amp, you can get in an elevator and do an elevator pitch. You get an idea of timing. They'll work with you in your presentations, interviews. They're a really good resource. So I definitely would suggest you get involved in that. Speaking of involvement, SCAD Serve, giving back to the community is a big part of what SCAD is about. So check out SCAD Serve. As you are thinking about your creative careers in your resume, having down that you did volunteer work on your resume, your employer in the future is going to like to see that. That is going to be a real positive. Also, if in the future you're looking at applying for some additional scholarships, doing some outside things that's going to look positive for you as well. SCAD Serve is definitely a good one to have on there. Clubs and organizations. I highly recommend you get involved in clubs and organizations. You heard me pitch the NeuroSCAD Club earlier, but that gives you an opportunity as a student to build some professionalism. You might be the historian. You might be the person who is the president or the vice president of that club. That's going to be a real good resume builder as well. Internships and SCAD Pro. Talk to your student success advisor now about what that could look like and when the time frame is for that. You definitely want to set yourself up to be able to do that in the future. Internships, again, are resume builders. They are also offer the ability for you to develop some professional connections and recommendations. SCAD Pro is also another one that is fabulous for your resume. In that situation, you have companies coming in and they're coming with a problem that they want you collaboratively to work with your peers to resolve. That is an invaluable experience for you in building your brand and starting to build your portfolio and your resume. So these are all things that I think are really important for you to think about. Social media is one more thing I kind of want to speak with you about. Really important. Be aware of what you're posting and your settings. Not everything we post, we want everyone to see. I kind of smile and use this as a rule of thumb. My grandmother was a really important person to me, which I want her to see this post. Remember, once you post something, it's there. And your future employers are going to review this. So I highly recommend against putting anything on there that you wouldn't want someone to see in the future. Right now, it may seem okay, but is it going to be okay a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now? Do you want someone to see that? It's also a fabulous tool for you to promote your creativity and your accomplishments. Those are things that we're going to want to build and want other people to see in the future. So think about how you're using social media and what you're putting on there. Tip and tool, Rule of thumb, probably politics and religion, not your best idea to put on social media. We can all have strong opinions and feels on that, but it's not something you really want to put out there publicly. Here are some professional resources I encourage you to check out. LinkedIn is professional. It's a great way to build your resume and make professional connections. Behance is a really good one for you to display your portfolio work and to work in that direction. Be careful though, sometimes people will make offers to you they may reach out to you with independent offers. If they are asking for money, probably not something you want to be involved in. Make sure you check out, vet carefully anyone who's reaching out to you. So, in a nutshell, academic professionalism as a student, best practices, interacting with others appropriately and respectfully, clear and direct communication, interpersonal skills are essential to being professional, and learning from others is important, and how we present to others is important. So I'm going to go down here and hand this back over to Caitlin. Caitlin, are you there?
I am here. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Jen. That was some really, really amazing content and information that's going to be so important for your time at SCAD. I know I took a bunch of notes to reiterate to students, about kind of finding your brand, and especially, emailing. That is so important, and leaving voicemails. I wish I could have that like tattooed on my forehead. Please leave a voicemail. And so just some really important things to take with you to start off your time at SCAD on a really positive note, but also a professional note. And so just next week for Be Ready to Buzz, if you are joining us, we are having 2 new totally wonderful guest stars from SCAD Extra in our grad mentor program to talk all about the academic supports available at SCAD. And then we'll also, your quote unquote homework for next week is to change your Zoom profile to one of your favorite pieces of art. This could be something you created, like a passion piece, or something from school, or maybe just something that really brings you a lot of joy. Please make sure it's appropriate, and you can put your favorite art as your Zoom profile. So thank you all again. Thank you, Tabitha. Thank you, Jen. This was a wonderful, wonderful workshop, and this will be posted to the YouTube channel probably within the next couple hours. So if you want to go back to any of that awesome information, it'll be on the YouTube channel. So we hope to see you all next week. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a nice day.